I'm Amanda Leitner, and welcome to Rochester Rising, where we amplify the stories of Rochester entrepreneurs. Welcome to episode 172 of the podcast today. Thanks so much for tuning in to us today. And today on the podcast, we get to share audio from the latest 1 Million Cups Rochester, which took place last week. So at the last 1 Million Cups Rochester, which was held virtually via Zoom, we got to hear from Nate Nordstrom. Nate's the founder of Brandhoot, which is a Rochester web design and mobile app development small business located in Rochester, Minnesota. And today on the podcast, Nate talks about a web-based application called RochStrong that he was involved with building, or was the main builder on the project. So Collider was also involved in the project, so I was as well, which is why I'm sharing this podcast instead of writing a story about it. Thought that was the most unbiased approach. And a reminder as well that Rochester Rising is the storytelling arm of Collider. And Collider is a Rochester-based 501c3 nonprofit that supports Rochester-based entrepreneurs through events, education, space, and storytelling. So back again to the RochStrong app. So the RochStrong app was built in 48 hours, and it was launched on March 20th. So we're about at the 1 month anniversary of its launch. And its real goal was to help spread and amplify awareness of ways to support local businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic and shutdown of many businesses in the area. The app can only be found at the web address rochstrong.com. That's RochStrong.com. And we'll have that link in our show notes as well, so you can check it out there. The app is run off something called Glide. So it's a Glide-based app. It's actually run off a Google spreadsheet. So it was built to be kind of quick and dirty, to get something out there as quickly as possible, to be one solution to help Rochester-based businesses. So we have a great podcast today with Nate talking more about the app and the backstories of its development and challenges that the app is currently facing. As a reminder, there is 1 Million Cups once a month here in Rochester. So this was a special kind of mid-month 1 Million Cups, but the next event will be held on Wednesday, May 6th at its regular time at 8:30 a.m. It will be a virtual Zoom event. The web link has not been released yet, but please check the 1 Million Cups Facebook page, the 1 Million Cups Rochester Facebook page, as well as the Collider newsletter, where you'll see more information to register for that event. So the event will start at 8:30 a.m. with some networking, and in May, we welcome Roasted Bliss and Terra Loco. So be sure to check that out, check out our newsletter for more info, and check out the 1 Million Cups Rochester Facebook page. So just as a reminder, you can find the Rochester Rising podcast through Apple Podcasts, through Spotify, and also on our YouTube channel, as well as on our website at rochesterrising.org. And on our website, you can find multiple other stories of Rochester-based entrepreneurs and innovation, especially covering the COVID-19 crisis in our community. So check it out. All right, so now on to today's podcast with Nate Nordstrom of Brandhoot talking about RochStrong.
All right, so Nate has agreed to join us and speak a little bit about the RochStrong web app that was developed very, very quickly. I can say that because I was involved in it as well. But what we really wanted to do was create something to really help out our entrepreneurs and small businesses as fast as possible. And Nate stepped up in a big way and provided his technical experience and his leadership to really get this off the ground and successful and turn it around into the community in just 48 hours. So without further ado, here's Nate.
So I guess I'll just share a little bit about the story of how this came to be, and I may have to rewrite Jamie's history slightly. It was about 48 hours of building, but we talked about it over the course of about a week. So you can only get the app at rochstrong.com. If you haven't already looked it up, if you want to look it up, you can do that. So kind of how did this whole thing start? Well, on Tuesday, March 17th, I contacted Jamie and Amanda and said, hey, our team has been talking about a few ideas and wants to do something to help. As a small business owner myself, I understand how crushing it is to have essentially the economy shut down right now. And a lot of our customers or other businesses we know are being hit even harder if they own a restaurant or something like that. So I reached out to Jamie about noon on Tuesday and said, hey, what do you think about building something, maybe a website or an app of some kind? And Jamie said, yeah, actually, Amanda and I were just talking about doing something this morning. So it was good timing. And we said, hey, let's try it. It's not going to be the most beautiful, perfect thing ever, but we might as well do what we can to help. And so on Wednesday, the full effort began. So we collaborated with some local business hubs like Ready and RDA and the Chamber of Commerce to ask them for help getting access to their data and some of the information that they had already been collecting. And we leveraged some off-the-shelf tools in order to do this more quickly. And we just worked really hard and threw in, a lot of creativity. And Jamie and Amanda worked really hard on a lot of the content. And on Wednesday, I made a note to myself that I felt stuck. I felt really stuck because there's just a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to keep client stuff moving. And at the same time, I had promised Jamie and Amanda to make this amazing app, or at least an app. And I had really nothing to show at that point, and they're working away on content. And I was just trying to figure out how to put the pieces together. And then on Wednesday evening, working really late, and then into Thursday, had sort of a creative breakthrough, and it was more or less built on Thursday. And then Friday, March 20th, we launched the app, and it just so happened to be my birthday, which was ice cream at home by myself. With my wife and kids, which was fun, but we had planned a big, huge party and it didn't happen, but that's all right. We launched the app on that Friday. So basically in a period of a week, it went from no idea at all to idea to launched. And the goal, really the idea here and the goal was to just help spread awareness about the ways to support local businesses, many of which are still open. We're still open. They're getting creative with online orders and various ways to still do business. And they were just struggling and still are struggling to get the word out. And so our goal was really just to try to help amplify the good work that these businesses are already doing and ways to help them. And again, we felt the time was short to do something. The need was immediate. So there really was no time for fancy solutions. And I also want to just point out and recognize there are some other really cool things being done in Rochester, and other people have stepped up to do creative things like the shirts that Jamie just mentioned. And I think all of that is fantastic as well. So we really just saw this as a way that we could help. So we did. So with that, let me show you a brief demo. I see a few people looked like they were looking at their phone. So I assume a few people were already checking it out. So what does it do? It is not an app that you can get in the App Store. You do have to go to RochStrong.com. And that was partly happy accident, but all really part of the plan, because it takes a week to get something through the App Store to get it approved, first of all. And then just to build like an actual native app takes months to do anything useful. So we leveraged some off-the-shelf tools and built essentially what is a web app. So it's really just a website that operates on a phone, kind of like an app. And that also then enables us to have a web version, although Jamie hates on this version regularly because it's a phone stuck on his computer screen. And he says it doesn't work on his iPad, but it definitely works on his iPad. You can just use your phone on your iPad. Anyway, our intent was, again, to be very fast, to get something out there, to make it work on every device and not have to mess with App Store approvals or any of that. So the sections of the app, we have Eat, Shop and Donate, Do, Resources, and then About. The Eat section is pretty obvious. It's all the restaurants that are still open and the things that they're offering. When we launched the app, we had a couple dozen, I would say. And there have been a ton added since then. So at the bottom of each section in the app, there are 3 special tabs: report an update, add a listing, or start a fundraiser. We would really, really appreciate all of your help and ideas and input. If you notice something that is incorrect here in the app, if you wouldn't mind, just take a minute and report an update. We would really appreciate it, so we can try to keep this as up to date as possible. With a lot of these businesses, things are just changing every day, and that's just the nature of it right now. So we're doing our best, but we appreciate your input. Shop and donate is also pretty straightforward. It's local shops and other businesses where maybe they aren't open, like Air Insanity, for obvious reasons, but you can order gift cards online and book some things in advance. Can also donate to the Collider Foundation. I just hit the wrong button. The back button, by the way, it doesn't work inside of here. That's what I just did. So we have a whole list of places that you can shop and support in here. And then in the do section is just trying to help, give all of us really ideas on things that we can do while we're all stuck at home and maybe working. And unfortunately, some of us not able to work. So things like Sherpa, who's done a 1 million cups presentation before, linking to them, there's some online yoga classes happening with Yoga Tribe. There's some ways that you can get connected with United Way and do some volunteering. So there's a variety of things here in the do section. You can even take music lessons. In the resources, we really just wanted to pull together some of the local resources that are available for businesses in particular and nonprofits. So the resources include, some of the things that United Way is doing. And what's been neat to see through this whole process is there are some organizations and some resources and some tools available that I certainly didn't know about. And there's some brand new things that have been popping up. So it's been pretty cool to help spread the word about these things. And shameless self plug, Easy Board is a new product that we launched, and we're also offering free help to nonprofits right now with technology things. And there's my mug, I guess. So there's some like local, national stuff on here, but primarily local. And some of it you probably know about, and some of it you probably don't. And then the about section is probably the most boring section of the whole app. It basically just says, hey, here's the app. Here's why we built it. Here's who built it. And that's pretty much it. So that's a tour of the app. Again, we would greatly appreciate if you would provide your input, your ideas, your updates by reporting changes to us. That would be fantastic. What do the stats look like so far? So there are 6,100 users. Currently, there are over 35,000 page views in the app. Over 100 businesses and nonprofits have requested to be listed in the app through the form that we were just looking at there at the bottom. We've had 26 people submit information updates, and hopefully as more of you go through and use this app and find things that could be changed or improved, hopefully this number will go up. And a totally useless stat, we have had 22 countries use the app, although only people in Rochester it's really useful for. So there you go. Measure what matters. That one doesn't matter, but I thought it was interesting. Sparking others. So I thought it's pretty cool to see. I think in general in life, when you take action, you start to see it spark others to action too. And so there's a couple interesting things that I've seen happen. Forgiving is a local platform for setting up fundraisers, and they actually decided to, we didn't ask them to do this, but we did talk with them about what we were doing. And then they decided to offer absolute zero fees. In fact, they're covering the credit card transaction fees even out of their own pocket. So if you do want to set up a fundraiser for anything right now, Forgiving is what I would definitely check out. It is absolutely free. They don't take a cut right now. And then there was a similar app to RochStrong launched in Omaha, Nebraska. I posted about it on social media, and then a contact there in Omaha said, hey, I want to do that for Omaha. And so within a week, they had an Omaha version of this app launched as well. And then I had also shared the app with a Chamber of Commerce, a National Chamber of Commerce Association. And about a week later, they didn't launch an app, but they did launch a #ChamberStrong marketing campaign, which I thought was kind of funny. And you know what? Good for them. So, again, the whole point was to help the community. If people want to borrow or copy ideas or whatever, that's fantastic. So lessons learned, don't wait till all the details are figured out. Just get started. Your action will help spark others to action. It's okay to be messy. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so this one kind of bugs me oftentimes, but it's kind of freeing too, to just do stuff and just launch it and not have to worry about all those details. Collaboration is really key. And then again, just launch as soon as you can. And you'll see where things go. And that is all I have. Questions, ideas, anything else? Would love to hear it.
So I'm trying to address my microphone issue. First of all, I see that in the chat. Apparently people care about my microphone issue. How do I sound now? Do I sound any different? Good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Just making sure. I didn't want to, moderate the Q&A with, no one could hear me. So there's a couple ways we could do this. We could, I think we're a small enough group where I think if people want to just unmute themselves and ask a question, that'd probably be the easiest thing to do. We're not, we don't, contributing things in chat would work, but I think it would just be easier to do that. So do we have the raise hand feature set up? So if someone wants to shoot Nate a question, I'm happy to even creepily go in and unmute you. I have that power as an admin. So if you want, just raise your hand and I'll unmute you and introduce you, and you can ask your question.
Or provide an idea or whatever.
Yep.
Jamie, this is Natalie. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound kind of ethereal. You're echoing in my ears, but I can hear you.
1 second.
Yeah, there's some sort of
we fixed it.
Yep.
First off, this is incredible. Thank you so much for putting it together. I can't imagine how much work you and everybody else had to do. So thank you. My question, or one thing that Dan and I have felt a little overwhelmed with, is knowing who, I know this sounds funny, but who really needs support, like who's really struggling right now as far as restaurants. I mean, everybody is, but is there a fair way to let the community know, like, hey, if you're going to do takeout this week, these people really need it? Has there been any discussions around that? I know it's kind of a hard hurdle, but just want to open the floor for that discussion.
I mean, my 2 cents is no, not specifically, because it's so hard and it's such a weird situation because everybody needs help. So, I mean, from my perspective, I would say every business will greatly appreciate it. Any help that they can get. And so I know some people that have just been, doing a couple things a week even, and will it help them stay in business? I think so. Will it totally solve the crisis we're facing? No, not at all. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be more shutdowns. I hope not. I hope things turn around, but, yeah, I don't know if there's any good way to say these two need help this week or this featured one. It's everybody, there's a lot of needs.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's super hard, as business owners to even sometimes ask for help. There's a psychological barrier there. I always make the joke that you ask someone, how's your business going? The answer is always great, no matter what. And There are some businesses that are starting to be more open, especially on social media, about their situation. I would say that the best way is to, unfortunately, maybe in some people's cases, monitor, social media, your favorite restaurants, and if they post something on there, then maybe there's a way to even launch your own campaign and reshare that and encourage people to do it. But it would be a kind of a full-time job of someone to be sort of an ambassador for this app, to be constantly calling and checking in. We do a weekly newsletter that we send out to everybody who signs up. And basically it's just one question: is we want you to give us updates. And, it hasn't been super successful because, their job as a business isn't to just fill out forms for help either. So it's a tough situation.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say restaurants and retail are just kind of being crushed by this. And then, by ripple effect, it's impacting businesses like mine and like all of ours. Our new leads have dried up on project type work pretty significantly. We've got a healthy number of easy board requests coming in the door, but overall, yeah, we're definitely slowing down. I think the impact is going to hit all of us. It's just sort of when restaurants have been hit now for a month and a half or something like that, a month. It's kind of hard to keep track of time anymore.
That's true. Anyone else want to jump in with a question?
May I ask?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I think, like these restaurants, like I don't feel as bad about the owner of the restaurant as bad I feel for the employee or all the people that are working there. So this seems like misdirected. Is there a way to bring in all the employee who used to work there or who lost the job under the umbrella of those restaurants so people can donate to them? Or like you feel like employees in these restaurants are struggling, so this is the place we need to go?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's no way in this current app. I think because of the mission of Collider Foundation to really support entrepreneurs and businesses, essentially. And I guess just speaking for myself, knowing, being a business owner, like it's really hard, to be a business owner, and this just all makes it harder. So while I definitely sympathize with, like let's say employees at a restaurant, like, I don't know, how are they going to pay their bills? I don't know. It's really rough right now, but I know some business owners too that are being absolutely crushed and don't have a bunch of resources sitting around. And if things don't get turned around, nobody's going to have a job at their business. Their business won't exist anymore. So anyway, I think I sympathize with your question and your concern for sure, but and again, this isn't going to solve everything. We're just really like focused on kind of one piece of the puzzle here, and trying to do what we can to help in an area that we have resources and connections to hopefully make an impact.
Thank you.
Hey, look, Stefan raised his hand.
Can I say we use Zoom for all the class stuff now, so I'm just like, all the buttons.
It's perfect.
Wait till we start using breakout rooms. Yay. So anyways, my question actually isn't really for you, Nate. It's really more of a question to the group and like a group of people who are in the space trying to tackle these problems. And so I think you guys have done a phenomenal job of at least bringing attention to all the groups that need help. I'm curious if there's any interest in like a concerted effort to helping some of the groups that are listing that don't necessarily have like the IT infrastructure to support online ordering or to support the ability to even do takeout because they don't know how to take orders in an effective fashion, or the groups that are trying to take orders that are, I think Blue Duck sold me a Christmas dinner this past weekend instead of Easter dinner because their online ordering system is a little fritzy, to say the least. But closing that gap for those companies that are especially struggling with both the new world of not being the business they originally signed up to do, and the technology gap that's allowing other businesses to at least limp along far less than to say survive. Have there been any thoughts to how we might help get these guys set up with a reasonable solution, or maybe a more generalized platform for that?
Yeah. So just speaking for myself, I know it's something that has been talked about, and our team has been and continues to offer completely free video consulting meetings just like this, to just listen, hear what their challenges are, what are they trying to accomplish, and then provide recommendations, and even on the call, try to set some stuff up or fix some things. I've had maybe like 8 of those calls so far, some with nonprofits and some with businesses. So if you know of people that would like a helping hand or like a call, send them our way. There's no strings attached. We've been just providing free help.
That's awesome, man. That's really great.
So
cool. Thank you.
And at the same time, I mean, Nate is exceptionally talented, but he can only, do so much work. So, if anybody has questions about anything business related, I mean, that's one of the roles of the Collider Foundation. So we want to make sure that you reach out to us and we can direct you. We're not going to probably make an awesome website or make your e-commerce better, but we could probably get you to someone who could. So I'm all about e-commerce. That's my thing.
And TV shows.
And yeah, webish TV shows.
Yeah. And I know it's been interesting too. Like I've mentioned that offer a couple times, and I've had multiple IT and creative people reach out to me and say, hey, if you get more requests than you can handle, like I'm raising my hand, I'll help. So that's been super cool. Currently we don't have as many requests as we don't have more requests. We can handle them. No problem. But I can't help but think there are businesses that do need help, but they don't really know. It's just kind of connecting the dots. They're stressed. They're working hard. They're just trying to figure out the basics.
Yeah, there's that unknown unknowns problem where I'm like, I don't even think they know what to ask to get the problem solved.
Yeah,
which has been interesting to observe. But yeah, that's great to know that you're a resource and can point them there if that's possible.
Yeah, happy to.
And something I'm really excited about as well is doing these micro grants. I think that's going to get us in contact with a lot of other people as well that can learn more about how the community can help. I think sometimes, people think of being a small business owner as the most isolating thing in the world. And, that it doesn't need to be that way. That's something we've always said at Collider. We want the community to really be a unified front and helping each other. So I'm hoping that these micro grants actually lead to some interesting, developing relationships and being able to plug them into the community to help them.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody.
Questions?
I was going to say thanks for everybody for joining the call. I was hoping it wasn't just going to be me, Jamie, and Amanda talking about the thing that we built to ourselves.
No, we did that enough a couple weeks ago. I needed a Zoom break from you for at least a week.
Me too.
All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to make Nate climb the wall behind him.
Sure. It's pretty small. It's designed for kids, but it works. It's a bouldering wall.
Anybody else?
Looks like Shannon's got a pretty cool whiteboard project planning thing going on there. Something.
Just big sticky notes with more sticky notes on it, trying to use my dining room wall as my new workspace.
Oh.
Not near as clever as what you've got going on.
Hey, that works. Yeah, I've got I'm using the kids whiteboard for my new project planning whiteboard.
Yeah.
They came in today and they wanted to draw on it, and I had to show them like this little corner they could draw on. And they're like, Daddy, why'd you draw on this? Well,
for fun.
Yeah.
Nice work, Nate.
Thanks. Yeah, no, we appreciate. I think I think all good things happen through collaboration, and this is no exception. So it was cool to do. And like I said, like the first day when you proposed the idea, I didn't even know how we were going to do it. And then I went through like the idea. I'm excited. Great. Now what am I doing? I'm stuck. And then, oh yay, we did it. Sort of phase.
I'll ask one more question. If there's none other, I'll ask you, Nate. What's a feature that you'd like to see if you would have started this from scratch and did it again? This is not a trick question to trick you into building a new feature at this point. So I want
that's
to,
right.
At least not for me anyways.
Yeah. Is this a question about the app or a question about like the whole world in general right now?
I mean the app specifically, but I'll take any answer. It's a pretty open-ended question.
I don't know. I really would do it the exact same way. The platform that we used has definitely turned out to be the right platform, and to the way that all the pieces are wired together. Because there's no way you could have done something this quick otherwise. And the whole thing is driven behind the scenes by Google Sheets. So it's super easy for Amanda and Jamie to update content. I don't think I mentioned it, but if you check out Glide Apps, that's what we use to build this thing.
Cool.
Worked pretty great. What would I do differently? Yeah, again, I don't know.
Okay, what was the hardest part then? That was a mean question.
Hardest part was definitely figuring out how to use the thing off the shelf. It looks all magical in their demos, and actually make it your thing and like do what you want to do with it. That's always hard. The demos of the shiny product are always, the perfect demo, and it does all these amazing things. And then you actually try to build with it and you're like, what is this thing? So it took a little bit to wrap my head around, like, how does this actually work? How are all these pieces wired together? And like an app running off a Google spreadsheet, like it's kind of weird, but it works. Like each tab of the spreadsheet is a tab of the app. So your spreadsheet is the database. It's funky, but it works. And then it's really easy to maintain.
Yeah, I think building on that, I was excited because, I don't know how much everybody knows about me, but my first startup was a tech startup, and I had absolutely no, only my friends knew what I was building, right? There wasn't a lot of traction there. And the cool thing was, the first time in this collaboration was the first time on the tech side that I've helped develop anything where I've heard a conversation happening near me when people were saying, oh, I just used this really cool app to order dinner so I could support a local restaurant. And that's when I knew we were on to something, with no pushing or promotion. Someone was just having a conversation about, oh, you should use this really cool app. And I was like, what's that app called? And they're like, RochStrong. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. So that was really exciting just to see that something we created got out there and really got the adoption very, very fast that really needed to help, find. And I think Google actually has come out with an update recently. If you do like a Google search for a restaurant, they're doing more granular stuff with takeout and identifying DoorDash and things like that. So, our numbers are slipping a little, and because I'm seeing stuff like that start to pop up from some of the bigger players. But I think we were, for a time, I think we were a great we were the alternative at the beginning that at least was a little bit usable. So I was excited about this project. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Little did Jamie know, I had no idea how to build it on day one.
Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing, but whatever. At least when you were asked what you would do again, it wasn't, I would never work with Jamie again. So I really appreciate that.
No, I would work with Jamie again. I would just not let him touch the code.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there. You don't want to see some really bad Ruby on Rails, which is about the only thing I know how to do.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, I'm not easily embarrassed, Jamie. I'm like totally over it. I've had enough embarrassing things happen in my life, and so I could care less.
Well, any last questions, thoughts, comments? This is our first attempt at this, so it's as anything, we're kind of always doing pilots now. It seems like with everything we're doing. So, so thank you, everyone, and we'll see you at the next 1 Million Cups.
Thanks so much to Nate for taking the time out of his schedule to talk at 1 Million Cups of Rochester last week. Just as a reminder, again, the next 1 Million Cups of Rochester will take place on May 6th at 8:30 a.m. virtually, so it'll be through Zoom. At the next event, the community will welcome Roasted Bliss, which is a gourmet coffee shop and bake shop. And the community will also welcome Terra Loco, which is a Rochester active lifestyle and run specialty store focused on customer service and giving back to the community. So check it out. Again, the best place to stay up to date with the link for the Zoom meeting is through the 1 Million Cups Rochester Facebook page. So be sure you're subscribed and following that. And as well, we'll have it listed on our newsletter through Collider. So be sure you are registered or sign up for our newsletter as well. We're always looking for great, amazing Rochester-based entrepreneurs to have as guests on our podcast. So if you know of an entrepreneur with a story to tell, let us know and send us an email at rochesterrising@gmail.com. A reminder as well, you can find us on our website at rochesterrising.org. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And the best way to stay up to date with our stories is to sign up for our weekly newsletter that comes out through Collider. So you can sign up for that newsletter on the main Collider website at collider.mn or on our website as well. It comes out every Sunday morning and is the most efficient way to catch all of our stories. All right, that's a wrap for our podcast today. Be sure that you subscribe and rate our podcast wherever you listen into podcast content. We'll see you here next week with a brand new episode.